You've been flirting wrong your entire life, and the worst part, the more effort you put in, the worse it gets. Think about that for a second. Every compliment you gave a little too fast, every text you sent the moment she crossed your mind, every time you laughed a little too hard at something that wasn't even that funny. You thought you were being charming, you thought you were showing interest, but what you were actually doing, without knowing it, was handing her a remote control to your emotions. And the second a woman has that remote, the attraction is dead. I know that stings, because you weren't being fake intentionally. You were just being real. You were doing what felt natural. But that's exactly the problem, because what feels natural to most guys is the very thing that makes women lose interest. Nature played a cruel joke on you here. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to flirt so good that women don't just enjoy talking to you. They think about you when the conversation is over. They bring you up to their friends. They wonder why they can't stop thinking about a guy they just met. Not because you memorized lines, not because you became someone you're not, but because you finally understand the invisible mechanics behind what actually creates attraction. And I promise you, almost no guy knows this. I put serious time into this. We're talking months of going deep into behavioral psychology, attraction research, real case studies of high status men who seem to pull women effortlessly. And I kept finding the same pattern over and over again. A pattern so simple, it almost made me angry that nobody ever taught it to us. And later in this video, I'm going to show you the exact moment in a conversation where most guys accidentally destroy their own chances. They never see it coming, and neither will you until I point it out. Now, before we go further, if you want the full picture, the deeper layer underneath everything I'm about to say, I wrote a book called The Truth Detector: How to Know What She Really Wants, If She's Using You, and When She's Playing Games. It's the first link in the description. If this video is scratching an itch, that book will kill it completely. But right now, let's get into the thing nobody's telling you. Here's what's actually happening when a woman loses interest in a guy who did nothing wrong. She didn't get bored of him. She didn't find someone better mid-conversation. She felt something shift, and she can't even explain what it was, but you felt it too, from the other side. Think about the last time something was handed to you completely for free. No effort, no chase. Didn't matter what it was. A job offer, a gift, an opinion someone gave you before you even asked. There's something about it that feels less valuable. Not because the thing itself changed, but because your brain registered, this required nothing from me. Robert Cialdini spent years studying this in his research on influence and persuasion. What he found wasn't shocking, but the implications for attraction are devastating if you don't understand them. The human brain assigns value based on effort. The harder something is to get, the more the brain decides it must be worth getting. This isn't a trick. This isn't playing games. This is just the wiring we all came with. So when you walk up to a woman and your entire energy radiates, "I already think you're great," before she said anything worth being great about, her brain quietly files you under easy. Not easy in a good way. Easy in the way that makes her feel nothing. Not because she's cruel, but because you gave her the answer before she even asked the question. And here's where it gets interesting, because the fix is not what you think it is. Most guys hear this and immediately go cold. They start withholding. They stop responding. They act disinterested in this obviously fake, performative way that every woman can smell from a mile away. That's not it. That's not even close. The guys who are genuinely magnetic, the ones women describe as intoxicating, the ones they chase, the ones they text first, they're not cold at all. They're warm. They're funny. They're fully present in the conversation. But underneath all of that warmth runs a current, a quiet, steady current that says, "I'm enjoying this, but I haven't decided if you're worth my full attention yet." That current is everything. And right now, you have no idea how to create it because the habit that's killing it is so automatic, so deeply wired into how you talk to women that you've never even noticed you're doing it. But I'm about to show you exactly what it is. Here's the habit, and I need you to really sit with this one, because when I say it, your first instinct is going to be to dismiss it. It's going to sound too small, too simple, like it couldn't possibly be the thing. The habit is this: you validate too fast. She says something, anything, where she grew up, a show she likes, an opinion about something completely random, and before she even finishes her sentence, you're already nodding, already agreeing, already telling her how much you love that place, or that show, or that opinion too. It feels like connection. It feels like chemistry. It feels like you two are just clicking. But watch what actually just happened. In the span of about 4 seconds, you told her that she doesn't have to do anything to impress you. You told her your approval is free. You handed her the answer key before she even sat down for the test. And now, somewhere in the back of her brain, not consciously, she's not sitting there thinking about this, something registers. He's already decided. There's no chase here. And the chase, whether we like it or not, is the thing that makes the brain release dopamine. Not the catch, the chase. There's a reason researchers studying reward systems found that the anticipation of a reward lights up the brain more intensely than receiving the reward itself. The maybe is more powerful than the yes. This is why slot machines are addictive. Not because people win, but because they might. And right now, without realizing it, you've been taking all the maybe out of your conversations with women. You've been handing out guaranteed wins before the game even starts. So what does it look like to stop doing this without becoming cold or weird about it? I want to paint you a scene. 2 guys, same woman, same opener. She mentions she's from a small town about 2 hours outside the city. Guy 1, and this is most guys, this was me for years, this was Marcus, immediately says, "Oh, that's cool, I love small towns. There's something so genuine about people from there. Warm, kind, completely harmless, but completely attraction killing." Because what she just heard underneath the words was approved. No further effort required. But guy 2 pauses, just for a beat, then he tilts his head slightly and says, small town, I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. And then he smiles, just barely, and keeps the conversation going like he said nothing unusual. She laughs. Maybe she pushes back a little. Maybe she asks what he means. But here's the thing, she's now engaged. Her brain just got handed a question it wants to answer. Does he like me or not? And she will stay in that conversation, invested, curious, a little electrically charged until she figures it out. That's it. That's the whole mechanic. You're not being mean. You're not negging her. You're just, for the first time, making her feel like your approval is something worth earning. And that feeling, that's what she'll go home and think about. Screenshot this next part. Seriously, there are 3 levels to this. Level 1 is what we just talked about. Slowing down your validation. Not eliminating it, just making her work for it slightly. Level 2 is something most guys never even get to, and level 3 is what separates the guys women become genuinely addicted to from the guys who are just fun to talk to for a night. Level 2 is this, playful challenge, not teasing in a juvenile way, not making fun of her, but pushing back on things she says, gently, with a smile, in a way that signals you have standards, that you're not just going to agree with everything to keep the peace, that you have a perspective, and you're not afraid to hold it. This is actually what Oscar Wilde built his entire social reputation on. His conversations were legendary, not because he was nice to people, but because he made people work for his approval. He'd question things, he'd raise an eyebrow, he'd say, "I'm not sure I agree with this delicious calm," that made people want desperately to change his mind. Women didn't just like Wilde, they were obsessed with him, and he never once chased. Now you don't need to be Oscar Wilde, but here's a real-world version of this you can use tonight. She tells you her opinion on something, anything, doesn't matter what. Instead of agreeing immediately, you look at her for a second and say, "That's interesting, I'm not sure I see it that way." Then you give your actual perspective, not to start an argument, just to show her that you have one, that you're not a mirror reflecting her back at herself, that talking to you is going to require her to actually think. Women don't say this out loud, but they are deeply, almost desperately attracted to a man they cannot fully predict, because most men are completely predictable. Most men are so focused on not messing up that they iron out every edge, every opinion, every quirk, and what's left is a smooth, agreeable, completely forgettable surface. You don't want to be forgettable. And here's where most guys get this wrong when they try to apply this stuff. They turn it into a performance. They start trying to be unpredictable, which immediately makes them predictably weird. The real version of this isn't a technique you layer on top of who you are. It's a switch you flip inside you. A decision. The decision is this. I am interested in her, but I am not sold on her yet. She has to show me something worth being sold on. That one internal shift, if you actually mean it, if you actually believe it, changes everything about how you carry yourself in a conversation. Your body language shifts, your timing shifts, the way you listen shifts. You stop performing and start actually engaging, and she feels that shift immediately, even if she can't name it. now. We've talked about what not to do, and we've talked about the first two levels. But level 3, the thing that makes women genuinely addicted, the thing I promised you at the start, that's something most guys completely misunderstand because they think addiction is about mystery. It's not. Here's what it's actually about, and this is the part of the conversation I almost didn't include, because once you understand it, you can't unsee it. This is also exactly where the truth detector picks up, because understanding what creates this kind of pull in a woman is only half the equation. The other half is knowing how to read what she's actually feeling versus what she's performing. That book breaks it down in a way this video can't fully get into. First link in the description if you want to go deeper. But for right now, let's talk about level 3. Level 3 isn't about mystery. It's not about being hard to reach or taking hours to reply to her texts. That stuff is just anxiety dressed up as strategy. Level 3 is something completely different. And when I explain it, you're going to recognize it immediately because you felt it from the other side. You've met someone, maybe a mentor, maybe a person at a party, maybe someone you wanted to impress, and something about the way they engage with you made you want to keep talking, made you want to be interesting to them, made you feel like their attention was worth something. That feeling has a name. It's called earned presence. Here's what it means. Most guys, when they are talking to a woman they like, are mentally somewhere else. They're running calculations. Does she like me? Was that too much? Should I say this or that? They're so busy managing their own anxiety that they're not actually in the conversation. And women feel that absence. They can't name it, but they feel it. The guy is physically there, but somehow not quite present. And there's nothing attractive about talking to someone who isn't really there. The guys who create addiction aren't more mysterious. They're more present, completely, almost disturbingly present. When you talk to them, you feel like you are the only thing in the room that matters to them in that moment. Not because they're fawning over you, but because they're genuinely, almost clinically curious about you. They ask a question and they actually listen to the answer. They notice the small things, the way you pause before answering, the word you chose, the thing you almost said but didn't. That quality of attention, real, unhurried, unperformed attention, is so rare that when a woman encounters it, she doesn't know what to do with it. It doesn't feel like flirting. It feels like being seen, and being seen by someone who also hasn't fully decided if they're impressed by you yet. That combination is a completely different level of pull. It's not just attraction, it's obsession. Think about the last time someone made you feel truly heard in a conversation. Not just waited for their turn to talk, actually listened, actually tracked what you said, actually responded to the real thing you meant and not just the surface of your words. How did you feel about that person afterward? You wanted more of them, right? You brought them up later. You replayed the conversation. That's what you want to create. And here's the brutal truth underneath all of this. The thing that's going to sting a little but is worth saying. Most guys are so focused on being liked that they never stop to ask whether they actually like her. They walk into a conversation already hoping for a specific outcome, already emotionally invested in a woman they don't even know yet, and that neediness, that quiet, invisible desperation leaks into everything. The way they laugh, the way they agree, the way they panic when she goes quiet. She can smell it. Not because she's cruel, but because humans are wired to sense when someone needs something from them. The shift, the real shift, the one that changes everything, is to walk into every conversation genuinely curious, but genuinely unbothered about the outcome. Not performing unbothered, but actually unbothered. Because you know your own value. Because you've decided that your time and your attention means something. Because you've stopped treating every attractive woman like a test you need to pass and started treating the interaction like a conversation you're choosing to have and can choose to end. That energy is magnetic in a way that no line, no technique, no script can replicate, because it's not something you do, it's something you become. Now let's bring this all together into something concrete you can actually use. When you walk into a conversation with a woman you're attracted to, remember 3 things. First, slow down your validation. Let her earn your interest. Not rudely, not coldly, but genuinely. Be the guy who's still making up his mind. Second, hold your perspective. Agree when you actually agree. Push back when you don't. Be someone with edges. Someone who thinks. Someone she can't just flip over and read the back of in 30 seconds. And third, be so present that she feels it. Put the calculations down. Stop managing the interaction and start actually having it. Ask the question you're genuinely curious about. Notice the things she's not quite saying. Be there. Those three things together, that's the flirting that creates addiction. Not fireworks on the first night, something quieter and more powerful than that. The kind that makes her lie in bed at midnight wondering what you're thinking. The kind that makes her text first. The kind that makes her bring you up to her friends before you've even asked her out. But one more thing, and this is the part most guys skip because they think it doesn't apply to them. All of this only works if you actually know what's happening beneath the surface, because women are layered. What she says and what she means are often two completely different things. What she performs and what she feels are running on separate tracks. And if you can't read those tracks, you'll apply everything in this video and still miss the signal. But that's exactly what I wrote the Truth Detector for. It's not a dating manual, it's a translation guide. How to know when she's genuinely interested versus keeping you around for convenience. How to spot the games before they cost you. How to read what she actually wants underneath what she's showing you. It's the first link in the description, and if this video resonated with you, that book is the next step, because you don't become the man women are addicted to by learning more lines. You become him by finally understanding what's actually going on. Now, if you made it this far, congratulations, you're already a step ahead of others. Leave your thoughts in the comment, or just write the word flirt, and I'll know you were here. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe now if you want to see more content like this in the future, and click here to watch this video next. I'll see you there.